Hey guys, I'm Kerry West, and welcome back to my pigeon in a sausage roll channel. I'm gonna do something a little different again here today. I don't really do a whole lot of comparisons, and by that I mean I have not done any. But I thought it'd be cool to compare the Sony A7 III to the Chiquita banana I got from King Supers. So we're gonna jump right into this. I picked these two because they're both in my house right now. So let's jump into the first subject, which is gonna be form factor. Now, the Sony is a very compact body. The newer ones are a little deeper of a grip, but they're still a very small body. And this slightly older camera has a very shallow grip, and it's pretty obnoxious if you have sort of large hands even. As you can see, my pinky just completely hangs off, and really the two doing the lifting are going to be your index and your ring finger. But overall it's pretty usable. The buttons are in okay spots. Sometimes they're a little crowded on your fingers. The worst thing about it though is actually this, for me anyway, is this dial right here. If you're holding it with one hand and you're trying to get to this dial, you feel like you're gonna drop the camera at any time. But overall it's pretty decent if you're a 6-year-old. Now the Chiquita, it's actually more like one big grip, which is a very interesting design choice. It has no buttons, it has no dials. It's a very forward-thinking design in industry that a lot of companies are just sort of sticking to their same design language. It's a very interesting design they chose here. But as we've seen with a lot of companies that try to do something so drastic like this, did they try to innovate too early? And by that I mean, are they completely missing the mark with this? And maybe in 10 or 15 years, maybe reach this shape a little more. Is this going to finally be looked at as a good design choice? Now on to the next subject is going to be weight. These are very different weighing products here. The A7 III is 650 grams, whereas the banana is very strange, but I found that it varies from copy to copy, and I don't know if that's just a quality assurance thing in the factory or what, but the average is about 118 grams. So if what you're after is something you can travel with, the banana is going to be the choice for you. It's much lighter. Onto battery life here. The Sony is rated for 1,500 shots on a single battery. That's excellent battery life. But the Chiquita, I actually left this banana for days, and it's still going. I don't know what they did in this thing, but the problem is it doesn't have a battery. So once it's dead, it's done. You got to buy a whole new one. Pretty shady business practice if you ask me. We'll get into that a little bit more later. Now for build quality, the Sony it's a fairly rugged design. It's not quite as rugged as other cameras like the G9 that I'm filming this on, but it's pretty good. The port doors are a bit flappy, and you feel like they would let some water in pretty easily if you're not careful. So it's definitely best to be careful with this if you don't have insurance or anything like that. The banana, on the other hand, it feels like it's made out of cheap materials. It's very light. It feels cheap. Look at this. I can bend it. That's not good. That's not what you want in a professional product like this. And a huge manufacturing oversight is if you drop this, you can actually bruise it. That does not happen with the Sony. So I'd say build quality goes to the A7 III on this one. Now for price, the Sony sits at about $2,000 new still. It's frequently on sale. You can get it used for between $1,400 and $1,500. It's not too bad for what you're getting. The banana, on the other hand, is 59 cents a pound. That is extremely cheap. I don't know what they did with this thing to get the prices down so far, but it's incredible. So if you're on a budget, the banana is probably going to be the option for you. On to lens selection. The Sony E-mount has actually become very filled out over the past few years with third parties making lenses. You can get anything from the most expensive pro options down to very cheap third-party stuff, and most of them perform pretty well thanks to the body's technology. So now the Chiquita banana actually has a lens selection of around 0 How a company has been manufacturing a product for this long and still has 0 lenses in their lineup is baffling to me. In fact, as far as I can tell, there's no lens mount on this body at all. So if lens selection is what you're after, choose the Sony. On to stabilization, the A7 III does have IBIS, and some lenses have OIS, and they work great for still shooting. You can get your shutter speed down pretty slow, handheld. But for video, if you plan to be moving your vessel, you're not going to have a good time. It's very shaky. It's basically not even there. The La Quinta, why do I keep saying La Quinta? What the fuck is La Quinta? Oh, it's a hotel. Well, it's really not that far off from what we're doing here. The Chiquita offers no IBIS. The selection of around 0 lenses have no OIS either. So if stabilization was what you're after, even the worst stabilization in the A7 III, I would still go Sony. Chiquita really needs to get with the times here. All other manufacturers have some form of stabilization, whether that be OIS or IBIS, and it's shocking to me that this still has no stabilization whatsoever. Onto image quality. This is kind of a moot point these days because pretty much any sensor is going to perform very well under proper lighting conditions, but the A7 III has a 24 megapixel full frame BSI CMOS sensor, and it offers incredible image quality even with the AA filter that they have on it. The Banana actually has no image sensor, which is really a testament just to how forward thinking this company really is. Here's a comparison of a couple of images I took with both. And at 100%, to see the noise structures. Now on to the next one, shelf life. And this is where the Sony really starts to shine, because I left this camera at room temperature for weeks, if not months, without any degradation or decomposition. It's incredible. I don't know what they made this out of, but it's really good stuff. The Banana, on the other hand, I've noticed that some models can begin to show signs of decay after mere days. Like cell phone manufacturers, it's just another sign of corporate greed, trying to get you to upgrade to the newest model because yours isn't good anymore, or it'll make you vomit blood if you consume it a year after you bought it. It's ridiculous, but that's capitalism, I guess. On to taste. The Sony tastes very metallic-y. It's not a very pleasant flavor. You can barely chew it at all. Good luck swallowing it. I don't know what they were thinking with this camera, but that's just the way it is. It's the way it comes out of the factory, so there's really nothing we can do about it. The Banana, on the other hand, has a very nice banana type flavor. It's a very exquisite taste. Though you do have to peel this external casing off first, which can drastically limit the admittedly already very poor battery life of this product. So I would only peel it needed if you absolutely have to. I feel like I've just been picking on the Chiquita this whole time and just talking up the Sony, but I mean, the Sony has some really great features, but I mean, there are some good features of the Banana too that the Sony just can't do. Number one, this is really good for practicing HJs and BJs and butt Js too. Good luck doing that with the Sony. It's just the wrong shape. You're gonna end up hurting somebody if you practice with that and then try to take your skills into the real world. I do not recommend it. Not that I've tried that or anything. Both of these products really excel at their target use case, and they sell very well to their target demographics. The Sony brand of cameras was a struggle at first, but once they found their target audience and started to innovate and ultimately change the direction of the market, they began to soar above the competition. That is, unless you look at it against the Banana. Even though the Banana suffers largely in features and image quality, the sheer affordability of this product allows it to outsell every camera on the market combined and multiplied by 100. Each year, the global sales of Bananas reaches 100 billion or more, whereas Sony sold maybe less than 2,000 A7 III bodies last year. So which would I recommend? I mean, as you've gathered, it's a very difficult thing to answer. I know it's not something that people want to hear, but it's probably the most common recommendation, and that is, it depends. You got to ask yourself a couple questions. One, are you hungry? Because if you are, then the banana might be a better choice for you, and you might even save a couple bucks too. And if you're not hungry, you know, then you might just want to buy the banana anyway because it's fucking yellow and it's shaped like a penis, and that's great. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this helped you narrow down your buying decision a little bit. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll be sure to answer them as quickly as I can. But yeah, I'm gonna go get out there and stick this in some holes and take some photos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.